Good morning and welcome to the IT Technology Forum. Today's hot topic is what is going on in the Broadcom VMware acquisition. How does it affect you and what are your strategies moving forward? The Broadcom acquisition, with recent price increases, product end of lives, have sent shockwaves through the industry, as many customers see this move will be cost prohibitive and will be seeking alternatives and making plans to exit their VMware-based infrastructure. In today's presentation, we're going to provide a VMware situation update, some new intel on a potential VMA program for MAP 2.0, providing additional funding resources for migrations, a migration case study example where we'll step you through some of the thought behind it, strategy, migration stages, workload evaluations, and how AWS can help you in this situation. You may have seen the announcement that as of April 30th, 2024, VMware Cloud on VMS is no longer resold by AWS or its channel partners. This will continue to be available through Broadcom. For current customers relying on VMware on AWS, this change raises immediate concerns regarding the continuity of services and support. AWS has assured current customers that while new services purchases will be halted, existing deployments will continue to be supported. But a quick breakdown is that customers have been reporting increased license costs of 3 to 10x. No new MFA configurations can be made, no modifications to the existing MFA. And you'll no longer be able to create, renew, upgrade, self-service purchases. A new VMware Accelerator program, VMA, coming in July 2024, provides additional incentives to the existing MAP programs. We'll provide more details in the next update. AWS partners will follow suit and add their own incentives on top of this program, which provides a historic opportunity to take advantage of these programs to make the switch to native EC2 and other services. Some of you may be wondering exactly what you can do to expedite yourself out of this situation. I put together this little case study as an example to give you some guidance in what can potentially be done with AWS. This is NCI. This is a fictional corporation, obviously. Has its assets in a corporate data center and a small VMC and AWS cluster that was created as a DR and data center expansion avoidance exercise about 2 years ago. They've been given the end of life notices for VMC on AWS and been hit with a 10x increase in license costs from VMware. The bulk of the NCI estate is in a corporate data center, VMware cluster with some physical service, approximately 500 VMs in 2 data centers, plus another 100 in the VMC. NCI also has a POC going in AWS. The original plan was to slowly phase out its data centers, moving to AWS native EC2. However, the current situation has created an urgency to migrate to AWS EC2. NCI would eventually like to move their entire estate to AWS Cloud, but the situation has expedited it. They would also like to explore some of AWS native cloud services such as EKS, RDS, DR, but the immediate need is a lift and shift. NCI is a high-tech manufacturing facility, so downtime for migration is not practical and is highly risk adverse. NCI does not have the manpower to execute this move, only has enough resources to maintain its current data centers and would need the support of a partner. NCI does not have sufficient funding to execute this migration and would like to explore AWS MAP funding. They have also asked the AWS partner to come up with recommendations and plan to execute the move and a strategy to migrate to native AWS. High-level recommendations. After the discovery, scoping, and a deep dive technical discussion with the NCI team, the following were the high-level recommendations. The consensus of the team was due to the short time frames and requirements for a near zero downtime migration. AWS MGN would be the best solution. Since the NCI IT team has some familiarity with AWS EC2 due to the POC and was used MGN to see the test environment in DR, it's a natural fit. The establishment of an AWS Direct Connect service will aid in the migration of the bulk of the VMware and physical DC server workloads. It was agreed that given the low latency requirements that the scaled down on-prem DC would remain to run the mission-critical factory automation and robotic systems for now until further testing in the new EC2 environment can be performed and to de-risk the migration proposition. The migration to native AWS would also provide seamless access to AWS services for modernization efforts as a second post-phase migration. The plan would be to allow for multiple VPCs to be set up for def and prod environments. An AWS partner would help NCI apply for the AWS funding and for the assessment and migration. As you can see depicted here, the high-level design is to use AWS Direct Connect to connect the two existing DCs and the VMC environment into the new VPC environment for the native AWS services. The project scope was for the partner to work with NCI to determine map funding levels and gain approvals. Work with NCI to develop and plan a strategy and execute a move to native AWS. Work with NCI to set up the POC, the new EC2 environment, and verify that there are no issues before the full migration in the next phase. It has partnered to create a design and long-term cloud migration strategy to execute and exit EC2. In parallel, a POC set up test dev environments for other native AWS services such as EKS, RDS, DR to continue the cloud evolution strategy after initial lift and shift move is accomplished. The ADF partner believes that the migration from VMware to VMC can be completed within the 90-day time frame required. One of the things that's covered in the migration readiness assessment, which is part of the assess phase, is determine the cloud team makeup. So on the partner side, with this team, we have a cloud architect, cloud engineer, network architect, application architect, database architect, testing resources, project manager, account executive sponsor. On the NCI side, we have IT lead, executive sponsor, VMware admin, network engineer, application administrator, database administrator, testing resources, and executive sponsor. So this is the core team that will be making the plan and executing the migration and its formation. Let's talk about the strategy for migration from VMware to EC2. You may not be aware, but a few years ago, AWS purchased a company called CloudEndure and has now fully integrated this tool into AWS as a primary migration product. This tool is extremely simple to use, and best of all, it's free, with the exception of when you spin up resources for the replication servers, EBS volumes, etc., which of course are torn down after you've done the migration. The tool works by setting up a vCenter appliance, which goes out and automatically discovers all the VMs in the cluster. And then the replication agents take the snapshots and push those over the application servers, and it creates EBS volumes. So basically, while this is up and running, it is continuously syncing these volumes, the updates, until you are ready to actually do your deployment. It also has an area for testing, and this area is a great feature because you can go ahead and see how well your migration has been accomplished with your VM before you deploy it. So again, this is a great tool. If you are familiar with vMotion, this is very similar to what you do in VMware, so it should come very naturally to you and very easy to learn. As a follow-up to the other slide and description, here's just a snapshot of some of the features. Again, this is a fully automated tool. It is very easy to work with. And keep in mind that it also works with a wide range of other OSs, so it doesn't have to be just in VMware. You can move other physical servers, you can move out of other hypervisors. But basically, this is a very simple and easy tool to do with a lot of functionality built in. Let's talk about the AWS map migration stages, as this is key to how your migrations are accomplished. Starting over here in the assess phase, which is paid for by AWS, this is a very key phase in starting your migration. In particular, the rapid discovery process, where we would use one of many tools like RV Tools or use Cloudamize to look at your inventory. Out of that comes your ARR, which goes to SMC. And this actually determines your level of matching funding that you'll get from AWS. Other important items that I would advise you to take advantage of is the migration readiness assessment. And in this survey, we look at what your strengths, weaknesses are, but most importantly, out of that is established the cloud team. And this is the team that on both sides will be responsible for executing, delivering this strategy. Then moving over here into mobilize is kind of where the rubber meets the road here, putting together your migration plan, your landing zone, looking at your security, compliance issues, etc., and then on into the next phases of modernization of your platforms. Let's talk about the migration stages. This is a slide that I like a lot because it calls out that you're really invoking on two parallel efforts. One is the lift and shift, and then one is more the modernization piece. And so starting at the project level, these are combined discussions. There's foundations for both, and then they kind of split off. And the reason for this is that you don't want these modernization efforts to slow down your migration effort. You want to take advantage of the AWS funds, get everything that can be moved over, and then continue on with your modernization efforts. It doesn't mean that you can't go ahead and seed these efforts, go ahead and set up dev test environments, maybe some initial services, but you just don't want to try and take on too much at one time and be sure that you don't slow down your effort. Let's talk about AWS workload evaluations strategy and the 7 R's. If you're familiar with working with AWS, you know about the 7 R's, which are retire, retrain, refactor, repurchase, replatform, rehost, and relocate. I want to call your attention to the part in the box here that says 70%, and this is rehost and replatform. This is the low-hanging fruit. These are the most expedient, least costly loads to migrate and should be your initial focus. But as part of the discovery process, you will be able to identify some what I call zombie VMs. These are VMs that are sitting out there. Nobody knows what they're for. They've been out there for a long time. And just go ahead and get rid of them. Just as part of the migration, just retire those. You also will discover certain things that really can't be relocated easily. Older platforms, you might have something like a Sun platform or PowerPC or even mainframes that will probably have to move to a secure share facility, or maybe stay in a scaled out part of your VC. But this is an important house cleaning process that is part of the migration that you can take advantage of. Project activities. We talked about completing the assessment, which is a very key part of this. Complete the design, complete the migration plan, complete the network setup for direct link, set up the new environments and landing zone, do your test migrations, which is something that's very key before you begin your actual scheduled moves. And then putting together your scheduling for your waves or moves into the new AWS environment. And most importantly, complete the acceptance testing, right? And identify who is responsible for the testing and who is going to sign off on the final completed project. Okay, so most importantly, the results. NCI accomplished the migration within the 90-day window with no service impacts. The new AWS environment is a significant cost reduction over the current VMware environment, approximately 30%. The holistic design approach not only achieved the desired evacuation, but also set up NCI for smooth, seamless integration between the environments and set the stage for the modernization efforts. The AWS MAP program provided the needed funds and support to achieve this outcome given NCI's tight budget constraints and timelines. Let's look at how AWS can help. AWS and its partner network have executed thousands of migrations and have the expertise to make your cloud transition a smooth, low-risk process. AWS has the most complete service offerings in the industry with over 226 plus products. With the VMA MAP program, AWS will share in the cost of your migration to the AWS cloud and provide the mission-critical services, support, and expertise from a partner of your choosing or from one of the hundreds of AWS migration qualified partners. AWS has the most complete portfolio of tools such as MGN that we discussed that are provided with the AWS service at little or no cost. AWS and its partners will stand behind you after the migration process to provide support and continuous improvement. Here's a small snapshot of the extensive partner network. There's a good chance it's already someone that you're working with. You can also engage the services of a third-party cloud consultant to help you through this process. Want to have an unbiased practical view of IT technology? Hit the subscribe button below for our channel and for more content to come.